what's going on? It's Andrew with Train Monkey, and here's your next blade for Waterjet Knives. This is called the Madre. It's a 3-inch cutting edge, nice little EDC blade, but it also serves really well for hunting, and it's also a pretty cool little tactical knife. So don't miss this, because we're also going to be using some pre-cut layered G10 scales on this build. It can be a sweet little blade. So we're just going to do a flat grind on this. Typically I do hollow grinds, that's kind of my trademark, but flat grind for this, it's going to provide a nice strong edge since it's such a small blade. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to establish my final bevel first. So I'm going to take it all the way to the center line on my initial grinds. Once I get to my center line, then I'm actually going to dial the angle back and I'll take it up to the spine however far that I want. This one I'm going to take it almost clear to the spine, just to kind of thin out the blade, and I'll show you how that looks. So using this 40 grit AO belt, I'm just gonna do a few passes. I'm gonna show you how that initial grind looks, and then we're gonna go from there. With just 2 passes, I've already taken it to my center line. Now all I'm gonna do is dial my angle back, take my grind all the way up to the spine. So I finished the grind, and you can see I took it all the way up to the spine. So you just have this nice crisp plunge line. Your grind goes all the way to the spine. It's gonna be a nice sweet little blade. All right guys, now it's heat treat time. And this is pretty standard protocol for any of your 10X series carbon steels. You can see what I have in there is my blade is heating up. And I actually bring my blade up to temperature with the forge. This helps to really shrink that grain structure. And you can see to the left what I have is just a little piece of steel. I'm gonna take that little piece of steel and I'm gonna warm up my oil. I have canola oil in this. You can use Parks 50/50. You can use any oil you want. That is a good Quench oil. And those are the tools, that's it. Just a little piece of steel, my blade, and some canola oil. When my blade gets up to a nice orange and red hot, I'm gonna let it soak for 3 minutes at that temperature. And then I'm gonna pull it out and quench. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna warm up my oil. Now that my blade is up to temp, nice fast quench. And then I immediately put it under this nice I-beam just to keep it straight. That'll allow it to cool, that'll allow it to keep it straight. You can also put it in a vise. Hey guys, so this is the blade after heat treat and temper. So I showed you how to heat treat, and all I did with temper is I took my toaster oven to 350 degrees. I tempered this blade twice, 2 hours apiece, so 2 cycles. And now all I'm gonna do is I have my handles, they're just super glued together, 2 little dots. That just makes it easy, and your pinholes always align. I'm just gonna drill my holes for some brass pins. I'm gonna glue my handle on, but it's really important, everywhere that your handle is going to be in contact with your scales, you need to rough up with some sandpaper. So I choose 80 grit. After I rough it up, then I clean it with acetone. I clean my handles with acetone. I make sure everything is spotless, and then I glue it up with a lot of glue, and then I let it sit overnight. Hey guys, so now that we have our handle glued up with 2 brass pins, all I'm going to do on my flat platen is square up my handles. And then on my small wheel attachment, I'm gonna contour my handles so they're nice and smooth. Now with this blade, I'm just gonna square up the back. I'm gonna square up the portion where your hand actually goes, and I'm gonna leave these flat. It's a nice slim blade, so I'm just gonna surface finish everything starting at 40 grit all the way up to 400 grit. And you could see with just a few passes, we're starting to get squared up. But the thing with pinned handles, only epoxy and pins, you have to be really careful that you don't heat your epoxy up. So go nice and slow, take your time, and you'll get a better end product. Your actual handles won't separate. So sometimes even when you're doing this and it doesn't look like they separate, they're actually compromised and weak. So you need to go real slow, make a few passes. If you have water, you could dip it in water if your handle material can handle that. All right, guys, so I've shaped my handle all the way up to 400 grit. And then what I have done is, including the handle, the whole knife, I've taken to my media blaster, and I have 220 grit glass bead and AO mix. And I've just blasted the entire blade. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna clean it really well with acetone, and I'm gonna submerge the whole blade in muriatic acid. I'm gonna do 2 5-minute etches. In between each etch, I'm gonna take out, clean with water, scrub with 000 steel wool, resubmerge. So 2 of those. And that's gonna etch my entire blade, give me a nice gray finish.